So this is the material scope of GDPR and sorry, DPDP Act. So this we discussed already in terms of paper-based assets, and DPDP Act does not apply to your personal data, which is for domestic use. That is common for GDPR as well. So if you need your personal data for your own reasons, right? So for example, you have your social media where you're uploading your personal pics, your family's personal pic, right? Your friend's picture, whatever you're doing there, that's all amounting to domestic use, right? But the domestic use is limited in nature. This is again a very important point where you need to be aware of. If you start exceeding your domestic limit, you will be treated as a controller for the data. Okay, so if I have to give you an example, if you are uh, uh, if you are an influencer in an Instagram or a Facebook, right? So you tend to share a lot of information, correct? But unfortunately, you started sharing someone's information, which turns out to be a wrong factual aspect, and the person is actually not even in that platform. In that case, that person can actually file a complaint against you, and you will be treated as a controller for the data. Okay, so this has happened in the past in the European Union, and you need to be mindful of that the domestic exemption is limited, where you can share your data, your close family and friends data, but if you use that medium to gain anything materially, immaterially, to spread information, then you will be treated as a controller for the data. Many people are not aware of this fact. It's important that you need to be aware of. If you are using WhatsApp, if you are using any social media, go look at their terms and conditions. This would be highlighted. Okay, maybe in
Uh,
India they would have not, but this could be very well highlighted once a DPDP Act comes into picture. And publicly available data, that's there's a small important fact that needs to be aware. Someone is asking this question as well, where how would you describe publicly available data when while visiting card that someone handed over considered public data? See, public data is someone trying to intentionally make the data public, right? If I share a visiting card to another person, this data I am happy to disclose. This is more of voluntarily sharing the data. This is not public disclosure. Public disclosure means I go to an internet social media platform or anywhere, I declare this is my political opinion, this is my health condition, I disclose this in social media, I disclose this anywhere which is a broad public medium. That is your public available data, which someone voluntarily says this is my personal data. I'm disclosing this for any reason. People are happy nowadays to share so many of their personal details. This is my location. I'm traveling here. I'm there. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. All these things are equivalent to your publicly available data, especially when the individual intentionally releases this their personal information. The law is not applicable to those publicly available data. There is a slight difference in GDPR, where GDPR says even the same way GDPR says publicly available data controllers are free to collect, but when they start processing the data, you will still need to apply the rules in terms of seeking permission from them in terms of consent or any other lawful basis within the first interaction or first 30 days. So there is a difference to it. But in Indian law, they give a blanket statement that it's out of the scope. But that's where the rules have to sort of tighten a bit, because there could be misuse under this terminology that the people manifestly made it public. So we are free to use the data, because at this point of time, most of the data are publicly available, isn't it? So that's the catch. So disclosure is also considered as a processor. Disclosure is an activity that the is not a stakeholder. Okay. Only false news is concerned. Any news, Jumana, not necessarily false news. Okay. It could be any news. If you are spreading that information, you could be trialed as a controller of the data. Okay, that's more important. Not necessarily a news that is favor of a person, favoring, not favoring, doesn't matter. understand what is domestic exemption, right? So there is a extent of freedom of expression, but the freedom of expression is not an absolute right in any given country. It is always to be balanced with another person's right to private and family life. Okay, so this is a very very important aspect that where people fail to understand in this digital world. They are happy to spread whatever they want, whatever they see, whatever they hear, or even not validating is it true or not, they start spreading it. And it's especially it has led to people being killed, or people being discriminated, or people being damaged because of those factually incorrect statements, right? So it's important for us being privacy professionals, we need to take these aspects more seriously. All right.